Committee on Parole is called back to order. The time is 12:04. Our next case is Mr. Joe Bailey. Mr. Bailey, would you please give us your full name and DOC number?
Joe Bailey, 13-0053.
Mr. Bailey, let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record. Then the board is going to conduct a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we will allow those persons who wish to have input to speak. Your girlfriend, Miss Shawika Eggins, is on the line and she wishes to speak today. At the end of the hearing, you'll have an opportunity to say, make a statement to the parole board before we vote. You understand our procedure, sir?
Yes, sir.
This is the matter of Joe L. Bailey, DOC number 130053, date of birth March the 7th of 1967. He's a fourth-class felony offender with a parole eligibility date of August the 21st of 2021. He has an adjusted good time date of August the 27th of 2035. He has a full term date of August the 21st of 2036. He is serving a 20-year sentence on the charge of simple burglary after being adjudicated a habitual offender. Mr. Bailey, is all of that information accurate?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bailey, your case was assigned to me, so I'll begin our interview process. Mr. Bailey, how old are you, sir?
6, sir.
I'm sorry?
6, sir.
I'm having
56.
trouble. I heard you, but I'm having trouble hearing you. And I wasn't having trouble before with the other persons. Is your microphone, can you get a little closer to your microphone or can they turn it up a little bit?
Yeah, go and speak into it now. You can hear me now, sir?
Yes, sir. I can hear you better now. Thank you. You're 56 years old. Mr. Bailey, how long have you been in prison on these charges?
About 8 years.
How many?
8. Speak up. 8.
8 years. Okay. I am having difficulty. Maybe it's just me.
I can hear you.
No, he's breaking up. Tell me a little bit about your educational background, Mr. Bailey. How far did you go in school?
Well, I went to the Burglary, sir.
You finished the 12th or you quit in the 12th?
I quit in the 12th, but I had went back to Jericho to finish my semester out on that. You gotta speak loud. Speak loud.
Did you graduate high school or did you go back and get your GED? I'm really having difficulty hearing you. I'm not sure why, but I am.
I went back and got my GED. I got that, sir.
Okay, now I can hear you better, so you need to speak up, okay? You got a good voice, so speak up. Tell me a little bit about your work history. What kind of work did you do on the outside?
Worked for a record at the Louisiana Down as a cook. I worked at Monkhouse Seafood as another cook. I had 2 jobs before I came in here.
Okay. And do you have children?
Yes, sir.
How many children do you have?
5.
5 children. How old are your children?
One of them 25, 27, and 18, and one is 19.
You have a relationship with those children?
Sir.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Tell me what you've done since you came before the board on June 21st of 2022, and you were denied at that time. Tell me what programs you've taken since you've been since your denial. What have you done since then? Let's talk about programs.
I took pre-release. I took Cage and Rage. I took Living in Balance 1 and 2, Life in Focus, NAA, VIX Leadership, and Boys to Men.
So tell me which of those programs do you think was the most helpful for you?
Yes, sir. I feel like Life in Focus was for me because I kind of learned my triggers now because.
Tell me about focus. I'm not sure what that is. What's the program?
I was out of control, so I had to find myself. So now I'm in control of my life now. Now I have more respect for myself and respect for others now, because I know by me not having respect for myself, I put myself in a situation by being here, and that's something I don't want to be in a place like this. And I have no respect for myself, and I have no respect for other people. So
I show that you have had a number of arrests, 16 arrests, mostly burglary and theft. You had one armed robbery. Your first arrest was in 1984 when you were 17 years old. Why all the crime? Why all the stealing?
Well, when I was coming up, I didn't have a father in my life because my dad had died before I was born. So my grandmama had raised me. So I had kind of went towards the streets, like, and I thought the streets was, like a home to me, but I'm making bad decisions, bad choices, bad friends.
Let's talk about the streets. Were you doing drugs?
I was smoking back then. I was smoking marijuana, drinking,
How often were you smoking marijuana?
Well, like a couple of days out of, like 2 days out of a week,
Did you progress more? Did you go to more than that?
After I did that, I did primo. And then that's when it got kind of worse, when I got smoking the primo.
And so how often were you doing drugs?
On the primo, I used to do that like about 4 days out of a week.
And how long did you use that for?
When I was from 15 to about 18.
So did you ever get any treatment on the outside for drug or alcohol?
I took a program and my addiction, and I did about me learning my triggers on that. I kind of gave that up, because I didn't want to live that lifestyle for as what I was doing out there, doing wrong, for stealing and lying, so I had to find myself, I had to go back to talk to God, about certain things, because you got to have God in your life.
When you came to prison 8 years ago, were you still doing drugs?
No, sir. I had stopped doing drugs. I started drinking. That was a
Tell me about your drinking.
Well, I used to drink heavy liquor, beer, I thought it was, it eased my mind at times, but
How often were you drinking?
Mostly, I ain't gonna lie to you, sir. I'm gonna be truthful. Like almost every day. I'm not gonna lie about nothing. I just drink every day.
Is it fair for me and you to agree that you're an alcoholic?
No, sir.
You're not an alcoholic. Why were you drinking?
I thought you rephrase that again. I couldn't hear you.
I said, is it fair for you and I to agree that you are an alcoholic?
Yes, sir. I got to admit to my addiction. I was an alcoholic.
Now, tell me when did you stop drinking?
Well, when I went to prison the last time I got out, I had to make some commitments to myself that I was going down the wrong road, wrong pattern by drinking and not having respect for myself and respect for others. So I had to come to a point in my life, I had to get God in my life to start making better decisions and better choices. And so
you say the last time you got out of prison?
When I got out of prison, the last time I got me a job and started working and started doing positive things and
what happened?
I relapsed this time by making a bad decision when I had broke the victim one night, and I know that was wrong, and I apologize for that.
Were you drinking back then?
I had 2 beers, sir, when I got out of work.
Going back to drinking?
I had drunk two beers.
How many beers can an alcoholic drink?
He drank a lot, sir.
How many beers should an alcoholic drink? Let me put it that way.
Really, I feel like 2 is 2 or 3 beers.
An alcoholic should drink no beer, no alcohol of any kind. That's why I asked you, can you and I both agree that you are an alcoholic? I'm not sure if you heard me right the first time, but I thought you said no. Then you came back and you said, yes, I'm an alcoholic. I agree, I was an alcoholic. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. You don't believe those 2 beers had anything to do with what you did?
Made me have bad, I made a bad decision. Yeah, I did
Well,
wrong.
why did you make the bad decision?
Well, at the time when I was telling my fiance, well, I got off work, and like I said, I was cheating and lying, and it caught up with me. And when I was telling the truth, when you tell the truth, and when you lying, then it don't matter, because when you is telling the truth, and she thought I was not telling the truth, I did something wrong, and she laid there and called me on the phone and told
What
me. She
happens
said,
when you get out next time and things go bad? And it may not be the same thing, but you get under stress, you get concerned, you got to lie about something, and we all lie about things. You got to lie about things. You go back to drinking. What's going to stop you from going back to drinking again and then doing the same thing you ended up doing?
I want to think about this place here, because it's a place I don't want to be.
Well, how many times have you been to prison?
3 times, sir.
Well, you know, I mean, you've been here before. You ain't thought about this place when you got out? You did for a while, you were doing okay. Then you went back to drinking. So what's going to prevent you from going back to drinking? What's your plan? What's your sobriety plan?
Well, my sobriety plan, I'm gonna go to meetings, and I'm gonna be hanging around positive people doing positive things.
Okay, what kind of meetings you gonna go to?
In an AA.
Okay, well, tell me your familiarity within A and AA. What are those meetings about? What do they do?
Well, in AA, I got to admit to my addiction. You got to always admit to your addiction. If you can't admit to your addiction, you're gonna never move forward. So I know I admitted to my addiction. I admit the qualities of my triggers that I know what got me in here, but not
Have
thinking.
you ever gone to AA meetings when you've been out of prison?
I was on parole, they summoned to AA, and AA, I went there, I completed the program.
And what happened when you stopped going?
I didn't never stop going to the program. I completed it. Once I completed it, he gave me a certificate, and somebody can go.
Okay, now AA meetings is not just class. What do you consider to be an AA meeting? Tell me what your plan is going to be. You say you're going to go to meetings. What does that mean? You're going to go to a meeting once every month, or once every couple of months, or you're going to go to a meeting when you think you might be drinking? When are you going to go to meetings?
Every week, every time they have.
I'm sorry?
Every week, every week.
Well, have you ever done that before when you were out of prison? Did you go to AA meetings back then when you got out the last time? Then you stayed sober for a little while?
No, sir, I had just went to start working. I didn't go. No.
So you've never actually gone to AA meetings on the outside because work interfered with it and things like that. How important are AA meetings to you?
It means a lot, because it what got me in trouble, not going, and that's why I'm in here. So we're not thinking and drinking. So it means a lot. I need to go to NAA, any other meetings they have.
Have you ever had any long-term inpatient type treating for your alcoholism? Did you go to Steve Hoyle? Did you do Blue Walters? Have you done anything other than education courses on substance abuse?
No, so I never been to now.
What are some of your triggers?
Well, some of my triggers are I learned that I know to commit to my wrongdoing. I learned that
admitting your wrongdoing isn't a trigger. That's the process that you go through. What are some of your triggers that trigger you to drink?
Being around positive, negative people that drinks and stuff like that. And that's why I don't want to be around negative people no more.
Well, I hear that's one thing. That's certainly one thing. What other triggers are there for you? You know, everybody says people in places. Yeah, sure. That's a trigger. Yeah, I don't want to be around negative people. But what other triggers or what specific triggers are yours? I mean, you mentioned one. Apparently you and your girlfriend got in some kind of argument. She didn't believe you, so you started drinking.
Well, I didn't start drinking that day, sir. It's just when I got off work that day.
Well, I hear you.
I went to the boat after I got off. I worked in the boat, and I had a fruit drink there. But this other person came to me wanting to ride, so I told her, "Yeah, I'll give her a ride." But by me,
back to your triggers. What are the triggers that make you drink? What happens when you get out and you can't get a job, or you get fired, or your girlfriend breaks up with you? What's going to keep you from going back to drinking?
I'm staying in contact with my higher power. I'm gonna talk to God. I'm gonna put God in my life. I need, ask him to take that burden off me, because I don't need that.
God can't take the burden off of you if you don't do something positive to work with him to get it off of you. And you say you're going to go to AA meeting. What else might you do?
Self-help programs.
Have you ever had a sponsor?
No, sir. I've never had a sponsor, but I need one when I get out.
Have you ever worked through all 12 of the steps?
I stated, my high power, going to my
That's
meeting,
the
working.
first step. First step is the high power. You got there. Did you get beyond that?
Yes, sir. I know I work with my sponsors. I read my literature and I go to my meetings, and I'm always trying to be on a positive level by anything I do now.
Where would you be living if you got out?
I'll be living with my fiance.
I'm sorry?
Living with my fiance
With your fiance. Where's that at?
in Bossier City and Shreveport.
And what kind of work would you be doing?
Air conditioning, refrigerating, cooling system.
Do you have a job?
Yeah, they got a job set up for me when I get out. Called student air conditioning, coolness.
What is do you work where you are now? What do you do while you're there during the day? What do you have a job there?
I worked in clarification, I worked in the infirmary, now I'm a trustee, I work outside the gate.
How long have you been a trustee?
Almost a year.
And you say you work outside the gate, what do you do?
I work at the dog farm, cook grass, whatever they want me to do, it doesn't matter. Whatever you tell me to do around here, I have no problem with it.
You're a member of SEA. Tell me what that is.
That was a club, a cooking club where they have all type of meals they prepare for the offenders around here, so we cook all type of meals. I like to cook.
Is that a club or is that just an order? Tell me what that is.
That's a club, where you go in, you cook for the compound, the free folks.
What can you tell us about Mr. Bailey?
Yes, sir, Mr. Marabella. Currently he is a trustee. He does a good job working out there in the field work. He does a lot of grass cutting for the compound, help keep the facility looking good. So he's really doing good in that aspect. One time prior to that, he actually was working in in the department up here, working in the classification department. He was working closely with a lot of the staff up here, and he had a good rapport with the staff up here as well. Myself and Bailey actually had a conversation just on the day, and I did tell him I think it's very important that he understand how important it is that he had to get extensive treatment, drug abuse treatment, because I really believe he actually need that. I really do.
Thank you, Warden. I appreciate the input. Now we hear from your girlfriend, Ms. Egan's. Good afternoon, Ms. Egan's. How are you? You're on mute. We need you to unmute your microphone.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can. Thank you.
Good morning. Yes, my name is Sharika Egan's. I reside in Bossier City, Louisiana. And Joe, he will be living with me if you all did grant him today. I just wanted to say roughly, Joe is a good person. He really is. He's very hardworking. He always took care of me and the kids. He left here, it was just me, him, and my daughter. He worked 2 jobs, cooking. He loved cooking. Now that he's gone, we have like 7 grandkids now. And me working as a manager, I been there doing that 20 years. Now I have my own business in cleaning, janitorial cleaning. And one of my clients was one of the ladies that worked close with Joe at Footworker at the Louisiana Downs where he cooked at. And she's one of my clients. And I have the DMV over here in Bossier that I am doing, and I'm going to school for business administration. So he can work closely with me too as well. And my cousin has his own air conditioner and heating system business, Carlos Suds, and he was willing to give him a job there too as well. So he will be surrounded by a lot of family. He lost his mom since he's been incarcerated, but he do has my grandmother, my mom, which is at dialysis. She would have been here today too to speak on as well. But he has my family. We are very family oriented, and he'll have us in his corner. And I will make sure that Joe does everything that he needs. And as far as classes, we can find those too as well. But we really would love for you all to today, if you can, we'll grant him to come home.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We appreciate your comments.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Bailey, is there anything you'd like to say before the board votes?
Yes, sir. I want to let the board know I'm not the same person I was when I came in here, and I give it all to God because God the one that got me here today in front of this board today. So I had to give it all to God. Mr. Jackie Bunny had said something to me in my last hearing about how did it feel for me to give a life sentence back. This is the grace of God that I had to put my faith and trust in him to get me where I'm at today. Lord grant me today, appreciate God. I want to make it home to my kids. I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for what I did to the victim. God, I want to pay him back for whatever damage I did to his car. I have no problem doing that either. So if I just want the victim to know I really apologize for what I did to his car.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Is the board ready to vote? Mr. Bailey, as I look at your record, you're a 4th offender. You've had a lot of arrests, primarily stealing. You've had an armed robbery mixed up in there. I think you're moving in the right direction. I think the warden gave you some good support. It looks like you're turning your life around. I think you're on the right track. I think you're saying the right words. I do believe that you've got a significant and serious substance abuse issue. You're an alcoholic, and I don't really think you comprehend what that really means. I mean, you said while we were talking about, how much can an alcoholic drink, and you said probably no more than a couple of beers. Well, that tells me you don't really understand the significance of what the alcoholism is all about. Since I asked you, what have you done since your last hearing? And you rattled off about 4 or 5 programs you're taking. But the only program that you've taken since your last hearing was Living in Balance. You took pre-release and Cage of Rage all before your last hearing. So you have done some good things in terms of substance abuse. Living in Balance gives you that. I believe that you need some long-term substance abuse treatment. And until you get that, we're just setting you up for failure if we don't try to get that for you. I think you need to really come to grips with what your disease is. Your disease is you may have quit smoking marijuana and quit doing what other drugs you were doing and opted just for drinking. But both of those are addictions, and both of those need some treatment. You say the right things, and you got a higher power, you want to go to meetings, but I think you really need to have that ingrained in you. You really need to understand what your triggers are, what your tools are to be able to keep that from going. Sounds like you've got good support. Your fiance is there for you. I just don't think you're ready yet. I think you need some more treatment. But I am gonna afford the opportunity. I'm gonna take a chance on you. I'm gonna grant your parole conditioned upon your completing a long-term substance abuse program while you're in prison. So that's gonna be, you're not getting out now. And unless you complete that program successfully, you won't get out. But that's just one vote. I'm going to wait and see what the rest of my colleagues have to say. Ms. Jackson?
Mr. Bailey, I do agree that you've made some progress, but I also think you need more understanding of addiction and what it takes to overcome it. So my vote also would be to grant conditionally on completion of a long-term DOC substance abuse program.
Mr. Bailey, what's the matter? You okay?
No, I just thought about what Mr. Jackie Barnett told me on my last hearing. It really touched me. You know, just get my life back in order, back in straight. I know I made a lot of bad decisions in my life. I'm gonna get it right. I promise.
And you also blessed with a lot of opportunities as well. So my vote is the same for the same reasons. Our best wishes to you. Sit on the front row and really pay attention.
Thank you.
Mr. Bailey, your parole has been granted conditionally upon completion of Steve Hall program. And assuming that you complete that program successfully and are placed on parole, special conditions will be that you follow all recommendations of the Steve Hall program, including whatever they advise you to do with reference to AA meetings. You understand that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.